Now look, as you watch this video, I want you to watch it, but be present of your breath. Bring presence into your life because when you're talking to a woman and you're highly present, one, your nonverbal communication will be more calm and more relaxed. Generally speaking, the more relaxed you are, the more confident you come across, and the less red flags you send out. The other thing is that learning to be present allows you to divorce yourself from the intense bias that your dick creates for a woman. So practicing this is not just to be present, but it's also to protect you from manipulation and to come across as more attractive. One. The other thing is that in order to detect women's BS, you have to sort of be looking out for it. And if you're distracted by the pum pum, your desire to get the pum pum will allow you to lie to yourself. So one of the ways to observe manipulation is to think with an open mind without your dick completely controlling the way you think. So like people guys always say, jack it off and then think about her. Think about the shit that she did to you, and all of a sudden you'll be able to see the lies a lot quicker. But if you're hung up on that pum pum, right? If you're hung up on them curves, you can lie to yourself before she lies to you. All right. So that's something you guys have to understand. All right. And if you develop that through having a meditation practice, a deep meditation practice will help you avoid those types of situations. Now, this holiday, we're having 40% off all of our courses. Nice Guy and the Psychological Game and Dark Game. In order to get that 40% off, click in the description down below, purchase it, and put coupon code mindful, and you'll get that you get the coupon code. I mean, you get discounted on the course. Okay, so it's only available for the holiday season. All right, so let's continue. Now, look, if a woman from the start seems way too eager, let's just say this only applies to guys who are a little affluent, but if you're noticing a woman coming to you very eager, straight to the point, like you're like, okay, this is too good to be true. Most likely it is too good to be true. And that's why I say don't let your dick lie to you, right? Because women and a woman's body is a man's number one weakness. You could put a woman's body in front of a man and you could rob him from behind, right? So be careful when things look too good. I've gotten robbed because of that. I say that about myself. I got robbed in Mexico because of that shit, man. You know? And you kind of get the signs that this looks too good to be true, because you want the pum pum so badly, you lie to yourself. All right. So relax. If it's too good to be true, take a step back. If she just come over to my apartment in the middle of the hood at 3 a.m. and don't worry about the two black guys in the door waiting, don't do it. I've been in that situation, people. That happened. Look, I'll tell you one before I start the video. One time, there was this one girl. She asked me to come over. I went over. It was in North Philly. I went there, and it was the hood. And there was a guy waiting outside. And I'm like, yo, I'm here, but what the fuck? There's a dude. And she was like, don't worry, come up. I went upstairs. We went upstairs. She was wearing her little nurse stop. Anyways, long story short, I left. All right? Nothing bad happened. But something could have happened. Why? Because it happened a year later, where you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's continue. So the first thing is first, man, is that you want to observe. The first thing is lower expectations. That to me, that's the most important thing, because naturally, when you find a potential partner, your mind naturally enhances how things will be in the future. And this enhancement depends on how unhappy you are in the present moment. If you're not happy, the mind will continuously look in the future and look for its savior. And a lot of the times, that savior will come in the form of a mental projection. And that mental projection will cause you to create a mental bias where you're not going to let information that will cause this potential future life-saving event to happen. In other words, you will see signs of narcissism, you'll see red flag in a person, but because you're so hung up on making this fantasy happen, because you believe that's what's going to make you happy, that's what we all believe, and the way we believe that is by observing what other people say makes them happy, you create, the stakes become high, and it's very important for this to happen. And so even if the person's lying to you, you're going to hear it, but not hear it. You're going to see, but not see, right? So you want to observe yourself wanting to believe a lie. It's a very subtle thing. It's a very subtle thing, right? How do you know? If things don't work out, you'll feel a sense of doom. You'll feel like, oh my God, my day is ruined. You feel almost like your whole day is ruined. This is what opens you up to lies and manipulation, where you're so fucking desperate you'll believe anything. And that's the real problem. Is not that the person is a good liar, is that you're a good liar to yourself. What is that? Alex has a fucking point his finger at us. We get it. Right? So observe yourself lying to yourself. And the way you know that is because when you meet this person, you want this to happen so badly. When you do that, you're just opening up yourself. It's like having a bad immune system. If your immune system is bad, you can rest assured that you're going to get sick. If your immune system is this shitty because you just want things to happen so badly, most likely you've already believed a lie. Right? It's almost like when you meet someone and you don't know what, let's just say, God forbid, something bad happens, the earth is destroyed and there's only a few people left to survive. You meet someone and they're the only person in the world. You have no choice but to trust them, right? It's the same thing. Is that you're so desperate for this to happen. You have this mental projection about how this will make you happy that you don't care if he or she's lying to you. You just want it to happen. Right? And that's where the self-deception comes in. So what you have to do is the next thing is lower expectations. You have to assume that things will not work out the way you want them to. You have to assume that, because when you got to realize is that what creates the anxiety is the potential good future that being with this person will be. And that anxiety triggers needy and desperate behavior that pushes them away and that causes you to not be able to discern truth from fact, lies from truth, right? So the way to do that is from the start. When you meet somebody, lower expectations. Say to yourself, it's not going to work out. Say to yourself, this person will leave after today, because especially when you start getting some confirmation, when you meet the person and you're noticing that this person likes you, you start getting excited. And when your emotions become inflamed, you begin to, like I always say, you see the world through a squinted gaze of a fog of emotion. It's just an opaque screen of emotion that causes you to not be able to see the maneuver that people are trying to get at you. So you lower those expectations, right? By lowering those expectations, you lie to yourself less, because, and I say this, do this in the beginning, because it's better to do it in the beginning, right? Because you're not as emotionally invested, and you're gonna feel that pull, because it's a quick pull. It's like a whirlpool, where if you're far, you're not gonna get in the whirlpool. But there's a certain point that if you just touch the whirling, all of a sudden you're gonna go in instantly. It's like you're slow, but once you feel that force of the whirlpool, you're instantly in. It's the same thing. It's like, you know, you don't know the person. Okay. Oh my God, I like this person. Oh my God, that's it. Like it's like instantaneous, and you want to stop it from the start, right? So that's one thing. Lower expectations. Notice yourself lying to yourself. Okay. The next important thing is stop telling yourself what you see. You want to learn to observe people without thinking and interpretation. So what you want to do is develop a mindfulness practice. And this part of the video is something that I repeat a lot in my videos. I hope you have not forgotten to notice your breath, right? And the reason why you forget to notice your breath, honestly, is because you're talking to yourself. A lot of the times when you're listening to me, you're telling yourself what you think about what I'm saying. Why I say to notice the breath is because you have two choices. You either feel the hand and listen to me and take everything in, or you listen to your thoughts and listen to what I'm saying, and you only take half in because you're listening to your thoughts, right? It's almost like if you're watching a movie, but you're watching it if you're watching a movie but thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow, you're not really watching it because your mind will absorb more of your attention than reality. So you're talking to someone and you're saying how awesome this person is, or how sexy this person is, or how great this future would be. You're not really paying attention. And people will send you signs of deception. It slips out. It's not easy to continually lie. It's not easy. But, and the way you know that is, we're going to talk about other ways. But first of all, you get a sense from this person. Something's off. And the only way for you to actually sense it is to become more present. Feel the hand. Observe your reaction. Notice your breath. Take everything away from your thoughts. Don't think when you're listening to people. In fact, try this. When you're listening to me, listen to me in anticipation of what I'm about to say next. Don't assume you're going to know what I'm about to say. Just notice what I'm about to say next, right? Almost as though you're waiting. Just wait for the next word, right? And you'll notice your attention becomes more. You listen more, right? Or even better, wait for the next thing that I'm about to say, and just wait for the next movement. I move here, now wait for the next thing that I'm gonna do. Don't anticipate what I'm gonna do. Just wait. Okay, wait for the next thing. Now wait for the next thing. Wait for the next thing. Now wait for the next thing. You're not anticipating. You're at the razor edges. What's next? You're like a spider sensing the vibration of its web. You're just waiting. You're not anticipating. You're not expecting what I'm about to say. You wait. So for example, it's like I know that if I look this way, there's a wall. Wall. That's one thing. But if I look this way and I just don't expect the wall, even though I know the wall is there, but I just don't expect it. Oh, wall. I look without expecting the wall, and I'm like, oh, it's the wall. It's the same thing. So when you're listening to people, don't listen through just like listening. Listen at the razor edges. What are they going to say next? And what you'll notice is that you'll start seeing even subtler things where you'll notice what I'm saying, but you'll start noticing little twitches, just little movements you just wouldn't expect. And you'll even get a feel of inconsistency. You'll get a bullshit. You'll notice when someone's lying to you because it just doesn't feel right. As long as you remain present, notice the breath, feel the body, feel the hand, notice the environment. Wait in anticipation of about what's gonna happen the next second, and then the next second, and the next second. You're gonna take all this in. You're so in reality that everything you take it in. I know I'm looking crazy, but it's because I'm passionate about this, right? And so this is not a thought. It's a feeling. It's a feeling in your gut. You're gonna feel like something is off. That's how you really sense people. Now, the next thing I want you to do is once you open up your apertures to be able to take everything what somebody's saying, what you'll notice is funny. Like when I do 5-hour meditations, I don't do it by myself. I do it in a group. But when I do 5-hour meditations, it's almost like everything is amplified. I notice you blinking. I notice little twitches. It's almost like when the more present you become, the more you notice, and not noticing in an overwhelming way, like when your computer's processing too much information and it gets hot and overheated. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the type of taking everything in where you're just so present, so alive. Everything is so alive that you take everything in with no stress, no filters, because if you really think about it, the amount of RAM you're wasting thinking, because you're overthinking, is the same amount of mental RAM you're gonna take in observing the world. Now, just a reminder, because I put a lot of content out here, and the way that your boy gets paid is through doing ads. Okay, look, like I said, nice guys, of course, that I made specifically for men who are nice, who have trouble being assertive, especially if you're a mama's boy, you weren't raised with an assertive energy in your life. That's of course for you. And Dark Game is the course that teach you everything that I know about dating. Now I do teach you some dark tactics. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not proud of that. Like seriously, I wish I didn't do that. Like a part of me says, damn, Alexis, like in retrospect. But the course is out there. You guys can check it out yourself. And it's 40% off and 30-day money back guarantee. Okay, click on the description down below. Let's continue with the video. And if you guys have a relationship and you guys want me to help you in that relationship, coaching you through it, or if you're struggling with your dating life, you guys could book me for a one-on-one session. You guys can ask me your questions and I'll answer them and give you guys my take on it. Look, I already made the video, but I wanted to edit this part in because it's so exciting. Look, first things first, people aren't who they really show you in real life, especially when you meet somebody for romantic interest, right? People who will tell you that. People who tell you that that's why it's better to get to know people as friends first and then date them. So no one really speaks their mind fully. There's a reason for this. We need to learn to be polite. So learn to play your role and don't be so goddamn honest to everyone every time, right? Because you don't know where they stand initially. So you want to lean back because sometimes people want to hear what you have to say, find out what you want and tell you what you want in order to manipulate you even further. Because when you feel that this person wants what you want, your guard goes down and you stop looking for deception. So that's one thing you have to understand. And the next thing I want you to understand is you want to look for deception cues. And let me show you what they are, right? One, humans are natural, gullible creatures. Best way to deal with this is to learn how to detect them, right? So signs of extra friendliness and attention and warmth to lower your defenses is one thing that they'll do. They'll be extra warm, extra polite. They'll go out of their way, right? Like when you lie, you show extra effort and intense level of denial, right? So when somebody's lying, they show intense effort to say the truth and intense denial, right? So, and another thing is that they have changing expressions with large smiles, but tension in their face. So they'll smile, but there'll be tension in the face, right? So you'll get that smile where, and it's not there. And the way to know it was a fake smile is because they go to that instantly. They go from smiling and they go back to it instantly, right? So that's one thing, right? Now, what do you do when somebody's lying to you? Don't confront them and let them talk and hang themselves. Don't confront them. Just let them keep talking and hang themselves. Once comfortable, ask them a question that shows that you're onto them and look deeply in their face for micro expression. If lying, they'll have a freeze up response, right? I've seen that many times when you catch people lying and they freeze up. Their words and thoughts are not aligned. Also, keep in mind that there is a scale to lies. Don't try to find every single lie. We need white lies to survive. Someone who says the truth all the time is pretty much a fool, right? So it's kind of like society functions in white lies. That's just a fact, right? So you gotta learn when to lie, and you gotta learn, like I said, like I'm gonna say in the video, is when people lie to you. There's some times when you gotta accept certain lies, right? That's just life, and also you gotta lie about certain things as well. Like for example, if you're a woman and you're dating a guy, he has a small dick. You can't tell him he has a small dick. You gotta lie to him, like, like seriously. Anyways, let's continue. Right? Look, one of the ways to tell if somebody's lying is just if they look too perfect, right? And if they support the right causes consistently. Anybody that's supporting causes that are socially acceptable and it's almost like they follow it to a T. It's almost like there's no deviation. There's no controversy. It's all hit. This person follows the line. Or better yet, like, yeah, that's one thing. Politics, following the line, appearing too perfect is a big one, right? Anytime somebody looks too perfect, you got to realize that there's something behind. Anytime somebody looks too happy on the outside, a lot of the times it's because they're deeply depressed, right? Like anytime somebody is always showing photos with them and their friends, it's because deep down they still feel lonely. You could look for the opposite of what a person is by just looking at the extreme that they portray on the outside, not things that are natural, right? Like, for example, if the person's rich and they don't go too far to show that they're rich, right? That's not a bad thing. But if a person is rich and is going the extra mile to show how rich they are, you could always assume that this person has an inferiority complex. For example, like yesterday I was in a train and there was this one guy following this woman, and he wasn't following her, but she switched train tracks, and the guy came back on that train track on the other bus, like the train, right? One bus, the other bus, another bus, train, right? She was here and then she moved here and then the guy went over there. And he was like, "Hey man, I'm not fucking following you. I'm not gonna want you, man." And you could tell she was scared. And I know some of the things in psychology is that when things like that happen, make eye contact with men, and the men will automatically know that we're together. Like making eye contact in those moments puts people like in, okay, if some shit goes down, like making eye contact for the future. So if somebody is abusing you in the streets, just make eye contact with someone and they'll be more willing to help as opposed to them not helping. So he was like, hey man, blah, 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 you bunch of bitches. None of you guys are willing to do something. Who's willing to step up? And me and this, I picked the biggest motherfucking black guy in the bus. I looked at him. We looked at each other. We nodded. And so we were like, okay, if shit goes down, we'll try to help. Right. Anyway, so he didn't do nothing. I got off the train. He got off the train when I got off. And he was like, man, hey, who's the bitch? And they say, I'm the bitch. All you guys are bitches. There you see it. There you see the core problem. This guy has felt emasculated his whole life. In fact, in the talk, he was like, "Man, I'm doing good for myself, and all you guys are bitches. Here I am. I just came from an interview. It went well." I'm like, "Okay, all right." This dude's trying to do well for himself, but it's like, dude, why you gotta be terrorizing this whole train and shit? But it's interesting though, right? Like I was listening to this, but I didn't focus on the outside. One, because he didn't hit the woman, but also because I just wanted to observe. And it's that this person most likely has never felt respect, felt weak, felt vulnerable at one point in his life. And so he lashes out like that. It's very understandable. So that's how you could tell how people are, right? Any extreme on the outside is always an indication of the opposite on the inside. And that's how you could tell BS, because a lot of times we're just putting smoke screens to devoid to hide people from the pain that we feel, right? So that's how you could tell a BS detector. So if you're talking to somebody and they outwardly make a conscious effort to show how different they are, look at what they consciously choose to exemplify how different they are, and assume it's the opposite, right? Just assume it's the opposite. You could be proven wrong, but that's a safer educated guess than the other of just believing everything you see, right? So it's almost like you got to be a little skeptical with people. People are very deceptive. They're very slippery. It's unconscious and it's conscious in some. But don't go in it like having expectations and holding on to it. If you think this person is wrong, is amazing, ask yourself, am I wrong? And look for evidence that opposes it. And if you don't find the evidence that opposes it, then maybe he's a good person. Maybe she's a good person. But don't just assume everything you see. So that's one thing, right? I'll open up your apertures of life and take more in. Stop saying what you see and just see. You see, your eyes have neurons that tell your brain what it's seeing. So you could be seeing somebody that's good, that's ugly, and because maybe you don't consider yourself as attractive, because studies show that when you're the less attract, I know it sounds mean, people, but I'm sorry, but if you're at it, the less attractive you feel, the more attractive you find people at your level, right? And so it's almost like the brain is saying, okay, man, we can't get them, so let's change the way this person sees attractive and make those people attractive, right? And so your brain will say that's attractive. It's almost like I was poor when I was younger. Like what we had wasn't that good, the food, right? But I still liked it. I loved it. Why? Because it was all I had, right? So it's the same. So it's almost like your brain will tell you what's good, even though what you're eating might not be good, right? So it's the same thing. You got to watch out for how your brain creates those types of illusions. So the next thing is, which is really important, is accepting inconsistencies, right? When you accept inconsistencies, you're pretty much opening yourself up to bullshit, right? Now, with friends, I'll be a little bit more lenient. For example, I had a friend, we were supposed to play basketball. He'll come after he's done Christmas shopping. We were all playing ball. He didn't show up. Well, we didn't go like, hey, what the fuck? Where were you, right? With friends, you kind of like a little bit more, you're more loosey about it. But with romantic partners, inconsistencies are unacceptable. Consistent inconsistencies are unacceptable. And when you accept inconsistencies, that's how you know you're lying to yourself. That's how you know that you're in a place where you want things to happen so badly that you're willing to deceive yourself. Are you aware of your breath? Don't let the world absorb all of your attention. I know you watch this channel for dating advice. My passion in life is to bring you happiness through mindfulness. All right. So please observe your breath while you watch this video. So don't accept inconsistencies. All right. Now, other things, another thing that you want to do is prefer to date people within your social circle. And the reason why is because you're going to have a better grasp on this person's past. That's like the whole reason why you want to meet him outside of like dating apps, because you know the people that know him and you'll get a better picture. You'll know his exes. You'll know who he dated. You'll know the shit that he pulled. You're just gonna get a better picture. And so naturally it's gonna be harder for you to deceive yourself and for him to lie to you. So thank you for all the Patreon supporters for asking me this question. If you guys want to ask me questions like this, where I make videos about it like this, it's a way that it's kind of like you guys also own this channel. I make a lot of free content for you guys. Out of all the coaches, I put out the most free content because deep down, I really want to help. I mean, I don't know how else to express it. But it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. So if you guys want to support the channel, you guys can become Patreon supporters. Oh shit, people, the battery died. Let's just put the normal battery. People, somebody said like, I don't like the channel sometimes because sometimes the battery dies. And I'm like, yo, that was only one time. Like only one time the battery died. And this is actually the second time when the battery died. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, if you guys want to become Patreon, I know, yeah, there is a box, people. If you guys want to become Patreon supporters, where I do monthly Zoom meetings. In fact, I think I'm doing a Zoom meeting next week, not this week, where I do Zoom meetings, and for all the Patreon people, you guys could, and like a Zoom meeting, and you guys could talk, get to know me. You guys can do that. And we're having 40% off all of our courses using the coupon code. The camera's not there. Using the coupon code MINDFUL. All right. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video, and let me know if this make any sense.